Good morning and welcome to Truro School Speech Day 2022. I'm Amber Wood and you're joining me here in the Sub Ainsley Sports Centre to celebrate another busy and successful academic year. To start the day's proceedings, let's go live to the Sports Hall to welcome the platform party to the stage.
Please could we stand for the arrival of the platform party and this year's upset leaders.
Good morning. Please feel free to remove jackets and please be seated. Let us pray. Lord, in the Bible you call us to live abundant lives. Today we come together to celebrate all that happens in the life of the school, all the lessons that have been learnt, all the adventures and activities we have been involved in, all the music, sport, drama, hikes and excursions we have enjoyed. We are here to recognize all that every pupil has achieved in the course of the last year and those who have excelled in different things. We've also come together to give thanks for all those who have made all these things possible. Parents who have watched over us, fed and clothed us, enabled us to come to the school. Our teachers who have taught us with patience and skill that we have grown in knowledge and wisdom. Those who have not given up on us and seen the potential in us. The support staff with their varied roles who enable the school to function effectively, whether it be in handling the finances, providing meals, or maintaining the facilities and grounds we enjoy. Our friends who have stood with us in the good times and the difficult times. For your presence recognized or often not recognized, undergirding all we do with your love, we give you thanks. We ask your blessing on these speech day proceedings and invite you to be our unseen guest, adding your blessing to this occasion. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Good morning to you all. What a splendid, splendid room it is. What pleasure it is for us all to be able to be in one place, celebrating Truro School and all involved in it. No one should underestimate the disruption that has occurred over the last 2 years and the interruption that it has caused in people's lives and educations. There is an exciting day ahead, so I'll be very, very brief. But firstly, a very hearty welcome to you all, Mr. Mayor, pupils, parents, honoured guests, and all staff. It's so pleasing to be able to see everybody together in unity. As human beings, there is a dynamic in interaction which just does not exist in the virtual world. There are some major thanks to be given for making this all happen. So my first thank you is to all the operational staff that have made this possible. We appreciate it so much. There are so many chairs. 1,187 chairs have been put out. I'd also like to congratulate all staff in school for what they have done this year, whether part of the teaching cohort or in support sector, providing invention and variety in lessons, serving and preparing the meals, maintaining the grounds, and all the other duties, many and varied. The contributions that you've been able to impart have been exemplary. I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank my fellow governors and the Foundation trustees for their part in the structure of the school. They're not involved in the operational duties, but play a vital role in the leading of the process and setting the strategic direction of the school and leading the governance. This includes the long-term development of the school's buildings and facilities and maintaining sound financial footing for a sustainable business. All governors work entirely voluntarily for the good of the school, and I commend their commitment and dedication to ensure the best environment for the education of all children. There's one particular governor I would wish to single out. His name is Peter Stethridge. I won't ask you to stand up, but he is retiring from the board at the end of this term. He served for 12 years. He was a former pupil at the school, was formerly county surveyor and chief executive for Cornwall Council, and attends Truro Methodist Church. He's a perfect fit for governance at Truro School. That's the biography, but the main reason for attention is his contribution to the governing body. He's been chair of estates, and in his time has provided governor oversight for this hall, the Leith Cookery School, the prep school classrooms, the prep music room and hall, and many other matters, including establishing a proactive maintenance regime. He's provided immense support to me in my early years as a governor and as chair. He always provides wise and considered opinion and will be sorely missed as his term comes to an end. He will retain interest in the school through his position and foundation, but Peter, we thank you sincerely for the dedication and contribution of your time and expertise over the years. It's been invaluable. This brings me on to you all here, pupils, parents, guardians, carers. The school isn't anything without you. We're so very conscious of the sacrifices that you make throughout the school year in all respects to ensure the best education for your family. Thank you as ever for choosing this school. There has to be a special word for our head. Yesterday I noticed a few grey hairs in his head. I actually found this quite pleasing, as it would be unsurprising if he'd lost his hair altogether. It's been a challenging year to run a school. While normality of a sort has returned, there are still illness issues far in excess of usual, and levels of concern and challenge remain in many areas. For that reason, the up-and-coming year of compassion is important. we should all remember and continue to engage in the community spirit that saw the school through the pandemic. Important lessons were learned in that period of pulling together and working as one for the good of pupils at all levels, and we must maintain that. To all pupils and in particular years 11, 12 and 13, your time here has been severely disrupted, and to be thrust into external examinations for the first time has been an unenviable task. The school will, I know, have prepared you well, and to have been there and done it shows the bravery and the courage that you all have in you. To all pupils, this last year has had a theme of curiosity. So what of curiosity? Well, we all know that it killed the cat, but more importantly, we are all curious. We all have a desire to learn in whatever our passion at the time. Whether it's the winner of the FA Cup final in 1939 or the breeding cycle of the otter, there is a curiosity, and accompanied with ambition, it gives creativity from where the world is yours. It was Portsmouth, by the way. So to you all, on behalf of myself and the whole governing body, thank you. There are exciting, if challenging, times ahead, and as a school, we will look to deliver our aims and maintain our values in the community that is Truro School. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, Richard. The first thing I'm going to do, yesterday at the prep speech day, I almost melted wearing this. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually give anyone who happens to also be wearing a hood and a gown permission to take that off and reiterate what the Rev said about jackets. If you're warm, take them off. So excuse me whilst I do this. I'm going to attempt to deliver my speech less as Batman and more as Bruce Wayne. Thanks, Richard. Thank you very much, Richard. Thank you, Orbin, as well. Thank you to all the musicians, and a very good morning and welcome from me. Welcome to those of you who are here, to those who are joining us via the live stream, whether that is locally, nationally, or from all over the world. And a particular shout out to any of our international boarders who, having fled from here and gone all the way home, have probably logged in and rejoined school today. So thank you. Thanks to all the parents and relatives for joining us, for your ongoing trust and commitment to this school, as Richard has said. To our staff, to my leadership team, you are amazing. To the teachers, to the ops staff, to everybody. To our alumni, to the friends of Truro School, our governors and our esteemed guests from the wider Truro and Cornish community, that this school is and must always be a part of. Our school is the strongest and the fullest that it has been in a decade, from the first year to the upper sixth, and that is because of all the work and all the effort and all the support from everybody that I have just mentioned. I do at this point want to give a special thanks to Kath, my EA, who has organised today and in the process has not only tolerated me, but tolerated several other 100 human beings who've been not entirely predictable. So thank you, Kath. We are a global community connected via this place. And today is the second day in a row where we have been able to gather in large numbers. At the end of term service yesterday morning at the Truro Methodist Church, which was beautiful, and then at the prep speech day yesterday afternoon, which was very, very emotional. I have waited 2 years to enjoy some truly whole school events in one room, and I've now had 3 in the space of 2 days. It's like being back in London trying to commute with the buses, but infinitely better. This year has been, well, I was going to say it's been a longer year than usual, but of course that can't be true. It's not a longer year. There are the same number of days. But it has been a very, very busy and very, very purposeful year. Our pupils I know you're ready for a holiday, and I know this because I actually misread the planning sheet for today when it said that at 10:30 you should have a staggered entry into the hall. So I know you're ready for a holiday. I know that our staff are likewise ready for a holiday and are flat out, and I suspect some of you may have your own staggered exits from establishments in town later this evening. Good luck. But here and now, we gather to celebrate achievements in the realm of study, of the co-curriculum, of service, of personal development, and of leadership. We celebrate the children who embody what makes a Truro school education exciting and empowering. And to that end, I want to start by recognizing all who will not be named today. Because I'm just as proud of you. You're just as important to this school as those who will receive awards today, because we are nothing if we are not all of us. And everybody in this institution has learnt and has achieved greatly this year. Of our 5 school values, the 5 C's of curiosity, compassion, courage, creativity, and confidence, we chose this year to be a year of curiosity. And it has indeed been a very curious year. And at this point, I must turn to the Chair of Governors, who's stolen my gag. We didn't consult over this. If curiosity really does kill cats, Truro has been responsible for a massacre this year. For the historians amongst you, the last one was in 1730, and it was in Paris. That's my only historical reference for today, but the curious amongst you will, I'm sure, go away and research that. I have billed curiosity to our school this year as not just a habit of wanting to find out more, but an antidote to the dangers of boredom. It is, therefore, a life skill, because I keep telling myself only the boring get bored. And my tip for you today in that regard, if you're a Fitbit wearer and you think this is going to be long and you might switch off, check your steps now. Because yesterday, at the prep speech day, I think I ended up the day with about 15,000 steps on my Fitbit, and I know that at least half of those were when I was sitting still applauding prize winners. So, if you want something to check, right, 4,213. Okay, so let's pay tribute to all of the pupils in our school who actively choose not to be bored, to commit to challenges, to goals, to projects, to better themselves, be that academically, by choosing a boarding life, by working as a chorister to support the musical and community work of our cathedral, by choosing to play sport for the school, for clubs, nationally and internationally, by performing on stage or in concerts, by devoting weekend after weekend to outward-bound challenges, and by giving of their time in service and care to others via the many and the growing number of community projects we see and we need to see in our world and in our duchy, as that need continues to grow as we emerge or try to emerge from the shadow of COVID and the myriad challenges and tragedies we see on the news. I salute today all of you who strive to ensure that our school is not an inward-looking colony, but an ever more outward-reaching part of a wider regional and global village. As I stand here today, we are contemplating and completing another small step towards that goal. We've just hosted Truro School's first ever summer festival period, characterised this year, of course, by curiosity. Within it, and with particular thanks to the Rev for World Aims, that's focused on finding out and understanding more about our neighbours, near and far. We've hosted speakers sharing their knowledge of everything from professional football to space travel, and more will come today. There have been plays, concerts, exhibitions, sporting contests, quizzes, I gather the staff team came third. That would be quite honourable, but I shan't tell you how many teams there were. And there's been all sorts of off-timetable madness as well. My thanks at this point especially to Joanna Wood for masterminding this festival. Thank you, Joanna. It may well be a curious way to end a busy year and a fast-paced term, but we've started a tradition that we will build on next summer. Our vision is for this to be and to become a gradually more inclusive and community-focused festival once we know how to grow it. I'm tremendously proud of our pupils who've shown across the whole of this year that they have curiosity built in. As one of our new head prefect team said to me in their interview, "When I came into the school, I was overwhelmed by how many people just wanted to speak to me." Curiosity and welcome. That's quintessentially Methodist. And there have been so many journeys of curiosity from our pupils of all ages across this year. Here is a sample, and everything I'm about to say has been initiated and completed by a pupil. What was and wasn't, I'll start again with that one. What was and what was not the sloth as opposed to some random fur at Newquay Zoo? Was it Brian Cox or a brilliant first year presenting that superb video about black holes? Can we find out how musical genres affect our memory? Can we test submarine ballast in our bathtubs? Is your mobile phone really the dirtiest surface in your house? Yes, is apparently the answer to that question. Does looking at images of mouldy cupcakes change your appetite? Are superheroes gender stereotyped? Is a dog dressed in a suit perceived differently to a dog in a tracksuit? Apparently it's not. Can the third-year tech team become experts in camera and sound kit, learn how to run film shoots, and work out creative approaches to getting the shot or recording the sound whilst working on the film Mary's Letters? Yes, they can. Watch out, James, there's competition. Can they play a rock concert without having really played a musical instrument before? Yes, they can do that too. Can you mix hip-hop with jazz? I'll let you decide that. What are the ethics of chess engines? How good can the sound be of a homemade electric guitar? Do climate change conferences make a difference? Should AI be used in psychological research? What prejudice exists in skateboarding communities? Does social media have more influence on the politics of the young or the old? Good day to ask that one. Can you, at school age, write an entire 5-part play about the fall of King Stephen? Yes, you can, and you can do it very well. Can you use digital scanning technology to reverse model your arm in order to generate a 3D printed prosthetic to facilitate weightlifting for veterans with hand injuries or for those with other hand disabilities? Yes, you can, and you can do it to degree level. And our staff have been feeding this curiosity too. Our modern languages team have started lessons with grapple time, which is not a form of wrestling, but of linguistic challenge. Our history department are gutted to have had to disappoint the pupils who think we should excavate the front terrace to reveal the final resting place of the school's first ever donkey, called Carn Bray. The physics department have enabled our budding astronomers to view Jupiter and its moons, and solar flares on the sun. Our English department had a visit from David Devaney from the creative writing faculty at Falmouth University, which culminated in, and I quote, a riotous communal poem accompanied by interludes of improvised jazz. A contrast to some truly poignant visits to Thomas Hardy's birthplace in Lower Bockhampton to read his poems about time and family in his cottage and garden, and then to East Coker, where they sat by T.S. Eliot's memorial to read 4 quartets, his Meditations on Time. The art department, I don't get this one, by the way, Dave. The art department arranged night drawing, it's dark, and underwater drawing in Cape Cornwall. The list could go on. I started this section with a quote from a pupil, and I want to conclude it that way too. When I asked a pupil recently about somebody who inspired them, I was told, what others see as impossible, she sees as a challenge to overcome. That is the power of curiosity. Education, like so much else in the world we live in, must be based on values. Like curiosity, because the specific knowledge and information that is taught, that is revised, and that is often relentlessly tested in school, block your ears upper 6th and 5th year at this point, that will have less relevance in the future than an individual's ability to be a positive influence in a community, in a workforce, or on a shared purpose. And values are at the core of being that person. Built into our forward planning and ambition as a school is the commitment that children here will have that education. And we have taken strides this year with this focus on promoting curiosity, with initiatives such as the launch of our sixth form diploma, and we will build on this start. Next year's value, our focus will be compassion. As we've done with curiosity, we will thread through the year the importance of better understanding the impact of our choices, behaviours, and actions on others and on our environment. In no community does everybody get what they want all of the time. In every community, individuals experience both success and failure, and we all get things right and we get things wrong. But in a compassionate community, the pursuit of excellence respects those realities and uses them to support inclusion and improvement and ambition. So, there is another exciting year ahead, wherever we are and whatever we're doing. For our leavers, your journey continues elsewhere, but you travel with your bags full of our blessing and our support, with the friends that you have made here, empowered by the knowledge and skills and interests and values that you have developed, and always with a warm invitation to return to see us in the future. For now, however, let's live in and enjoy this moment, a time of celebration for what has been achieved by all of you. Today is about you, and you are credit to yourselves, so long as you now promise to join in and sing the hymn. Thank you very much. Please do be seated. It gives me now great pleasure to call on our guest speaker, James Hawes, to present the prizes with the help of Sean Pope and Emma Ellison, my deputies.
For the prizes today, we will read the names in batches of 6. I would ask the congregation not to applaud until after each batch of 6 has been read. I invite the heads of year of each year group to the stage to announce the relevant prizes for their year. With the form prizes, tutors in the 1st to 3rd year, working with the head of year, award 2 prizes per form, 1 for effort and 1 for attainment. These are awarded for sustained overall attainment and commitment and effort in all subjects throughout the whole academic year.
One of the biggest challenges for the first years over the past academic year has been settling into their secondary school. I've been impressed by how well this cohort have managed to overcome this challenge, demonstrating resilience and growing independence, and I'd like to recognise the tutors in supporting them through this. There have been so many wonderful moments over the past academic year, starting with the team building days at BF Adventures, either getting stuck in whilst managing a broken arm or trying to get as wet as possible in the quarry. The gala concerts blew me away, and I couldn't quite believe that some of the pupils had only been practicing that musical instrument for a term at most. Recently, Sports Day showed me how much of a team work is established within the tutor groups. And not only do we have some amazing athletes, we also have some exceptional dancers. There are countless accolades that the pupils have achieved over the year. Awards in the Junior Maths Challenge, regional, national and international achievements in community sports such as laser runs and triathlons, some competing at a Team GB level. Science Crest Awards and many more. But how will I remember you first years? For the table tennis in the quad, the grit shown in Mrs. Sanderson's Met Fit classes, putting me to shame, and great fun at gardening club. But each of you have a brilliant give it a go attitude. Thank you, each of you, for being you. All the best with your future journey through Truro School, blossoming as you go. I am delighted to award the following effort and attainment prizes for the first years, and they are as follows. James Baker, 1K attainment. Leah Farrance, 1L effort. Freddie Gould, 1H attainment. Tansy Grice, 1J effort. Joseph Scrimshaw, 1J attainment. And Jack Hastings, 1G attainment. Louisa Lamb, 1M effort. Aisha Price, 1H effort. Saran Shankar, 1M attainment. Eva Steele, 1K effort. Theo Talbot, in absentia, 1L attainment. And Erin Wells, 1G effort.
Good morning. Today I speak on behalf of Mrs McCabe and I, who are really proud of our many achievements over the past year, your various accomplishments in almost all curriculum and non-curriculum activities. Your brilliant achievements in academic discourse and committed and determined nature in sport are indeed recognised. You have shown great resilience over the past 2 years, and whilst your start to Truro School is beyond comprehension, you have continued to thrive and succeed many of our expectations. Over the past few months, I have been personally overwhelmed with the incredible show of unity and support you show each other on a daily basis. As we end the year celebrating some individual achievements, please know that we acknowledge that all of you have accomplished a great deal over the past year. The effort and attainment prizes for the second year are awarded as follows. Roman Baker, 2H Attainment. Noah Best, 2H Effort. Dulcie Latham, 2M Effort. George Lenny, 2K Effort and the School Junior Band Prize. Florence Maguire, 2K Attainment. Ella Meyer, 2M Attainment. Alex Pearce, 2L Attainment. Jackson Pinkney, 2L Effort. Luke Reynolds, 2J Effort. And Dylan Sue, 2J Attainment.
Good morning. Much has happened since September, and as restrictions and masks lifted, the third year have been able to enjoy their first broadly uninterrupted year at Truro School, which in itself is a cause for great celebration. In the autumn term, they were given a taste of pathways and processes for further education and careers in their Inspiring Futures Day, a popular activity being building towers of spaghetti and marshmallows for pretty obvious reasons. The teamwork and camaraderie that such a task necessitated, of course. The spring term saw the avid return of the Duke of Edinburgh Bronze Award, where students could once again plan and complete their expeditions over May and June. I'm so pleased that the feedback from staff supervising was tremendously positive, as they showed great team spirit yet again. The theme of togetherness and positivity has permeated throughout the year. It's been a pleasure to work with the third year students, and as they move into the capable hands of Mr. Copeland for their GCSEs, I'm honoured to still be able to work with them through this time. So many students have demonstrated maturity, resolve, resilience. Today, we celebrate the form prizes for academic achievement and effort. Lauren Anderson, 3H for effort. Samuel Bayliss, 3K for attainment. Anna Browning, in absentia, 3K for effort. Sophie Dickinson, 3G for attainment. Harry English, 3L for attainment. And Celia Gill, 3H for attainment and the School Public Speaking Prize. And Daisy Hassel, 3L for effort. Pernica Apati, 3G for effort. Ruth Jeffrey, 3J for effort. Rory Spivey, 3M for attainment. Iris Turner, 3M for effort, and William Wang, 3J for attainment.
Good morning. As the long academic year draws to a close, I've spent some time reflecting on what's been a monumental year. Watching our fourth years return to some normality in school, sporting fixtures, inter-house competitions, music competitions, concerts, class assemblies, D of E, assessments, and in the midst of this, some excellent learning. Oh, and no bubbles. My message to the fourth years as they go for their summer break: go and enjoy it. Enjoy more freedom by earning the trust that love you most. Be mindful of the older you become, the greater the responsibility. And respect what wonderful opportunities you have at Truro School. I wish you all a wonderful summer, and I thank all my tutors for their support throughout the year. I'm delighted to be able to award the subject prizes for the fourth year as follows. Sam Bishop, History. Rebecca Shalamutha, English. Ollie Gould, Spanish. Kai Hanford, Physics. Alice Henderson, German. And Matthew Jones, Music. Finian Love, Geography. Guy Marshall, Religious Studies. Quinn McNicholas, Computing. Susanna Melville, Drama. George Newman, French. Cyrus Nang, in absentia, design and technology. Ollie Pierce, chemistry. Libby Ricks, biology. Olivia Spence, art. Arthur Taylor, geology. Jonathan Taylor, maths. And Stan Williams, physical education.
Good morning. The fifth year have experienced what is arguably their most intensive year of their schooling to date, with all the hard work leading up to their GCSE exams, big decisions about what to do next year, and of course the all-important decisions about what to wear for the fifth year ball. They are a year group who are characterised by a super work ethic, good humour, strong and supportive friendships, and most notably, an extraordinary resilience which has seen them through extraordinary times. It has been a privilege to be their head of year, and I have great pleasure in announcing their prize results. Ben Ash, chemistry. Amy Brown, in absentia, biology. Theo Clark, in absentia, maths. Jessie Elliott, in absentia, computer science, and Diggory Gill, religious studies, and the School Junior Prize for drama, acting, and Olivia Griggs, music. Luke James, German, Arm Knoxon, in absentia, ESL, Florence McCloof, drama, Rosie Newman, in absentia, French, Lockie Newton, in absentia, physical education, and Sammy Ovenden Hope, art. Isha Patwarden, Spanish, Elspeth Prindle, in absentia, English, Tara Scully, in absentia, geography, Tom Stevens, in absentia, geology, Sam Stevenson, in person, design and technology, Oliver Thorpe, physics, and Libby Worrell, in absentia, history.
Good morning. I wonder where the fifth years could be. In my short time working with the lower sixth, I've been nothing but impressed with their togetherness and sense of community that they have created as a year group. I'm incredibly proud of the way they've embraced the sixth form diploma programme, and with the guidance of their form tutors, they all have bright futures in front of them. We have recently appointed a sensational senior prefect team, and I look forward to seeing them drive the sixth form forwards as they welcome the new lower sixth in next year. It is great to see all the award winners recognised for their efforts this year, and I hope you all have a fantastic summer, and congratulations on a superb start to your sixth form journey. The subject prizes for the lower sixth year are as follows: Maya Bessel, chemistry; Will Coleman, computer science; Imogen Dowse, English; Louis Fletcher, music; Belle Giles, religious studies; George Henderson, design and technology. Adam Hill, business studies; Caroline Jeering, art; Kobe Kellett, biology; Chloe Lansdowne, theatre studies; Nikki Lenk, Spanish; and George Lynn, physics. Heidi Machin, geology; Jack Marn, economics; Harry Melville, psychology; Livy Penner, physical education; Samia Sen, maths and the School CL Bryant Prize for Best Sixth Form Scientist; Max Spivey, history. Kate Whiting, geography.
Good morning, everyone. As always, it's been an absolute pleasure to lead the sixth form. This has been the busiest last 2 terms in upper sixth that I can ever remember. So well done for powering through and taking it all in your stride. I've been so impressed with how you've coped with the ever-changing landscape of studying for your A-levels over the last 2 years, being in for face-to-face teaching, then working remotely in lockdown, then back in for face-to-face teaching, finally the 3 phases of assessment, pre-release material, and then actually sitting your A-levels. You've all been amazing, and I've loved working alongside you. I'm always awestruck by the plethora of skills, hard work, and just general awesomeness of the sixth form community. And now I have the privilege to celebrate that awesomeness by reading out this year's awards for the upper sixth. For the upper sixth leaving us off to pastures new, we wish you all the best. And remember, don't be a stranger. Do come back and visit. I'll sincerely miss you all. And thanks so much for a great Leavers Day and summer ball and letting me bust some moves with you on the dance floor. The subject prizes for upper sixth are as follows: Edward Ash, Maths; Gabriel Bradbury, Religious Studies; Lily Clayton, Computer Science; Amber Grant, Psychology; Ethan Hilton, Physics; Ellie Howe, Cookery. Benningham in absentia, English; Grace Kitchen, Art; Jacob Lambo in absentia, PE; Seb McLeaf, Economics and the School Prize, School Wilday Delange Prize for Humanities; Scarlett Marsden, EPQ; Katie Martin, Music and the School Jazz Orchestra Prize; and Day Lewis, a prize for Initiative and Enterprise. Jack Michaels, German; Jack Phillips, Geology; Ben Stone, Design and Technology and the Nichols Prize for Service to the School; Ben Thorpe, History and Spanish; Racine Watson, Theatre Studies; and Sarah Young, French and Business Studies.
I now have pleasure in announcing the school prizes. Joshua Arnold, Junior Choir; Lawrence Gemmell, Junior Choir; Finlay Harris, Junior Prize for Drama Technical; Chen Lin, Jane Emmons Library Prize; Kinga Osika in absentia, Junior Orchestra; Harry Salis in absentia, Geoffrey Jones Shield for Perseverance in Outdoor Education, 10 tours, and Daniel Taylor the Hatchers Prize for Outdoor Education. Poppy Tariff, the Key Stage 3 PE and Sport Award. Hannah Best, the Rowe Award for Community Service. Sam Hewitt, the Key Stage 4 PE and Sport Award. Louis Murray, Outstanding Sporting Achievement Prize and Troman Shield for Outstanding Achievement. Sam Edwards, the Pritchard Trophy for Sustained Leadership in Outdoor Education. And Izzy Thorns, the Ken Palmier Music Cup. Katie Fear, the Outstanding Service to School Sport. Robbie Headland in absentia for Symphony Orchestra. Poppy Allister in absentia for the Creed Cup for Drama. Cam McCready for the Burrell Prize for Drama. Ollie Newman for the Jubilee Cup for Design. Sophie Palmer for the Henry Doughty Music Cup. Christina Rodianova for School Art. And Daniel Rayfield and Ostea Savicate, who are the joint winners of the Fanshawe Boarding Cup. And I have pleasure in announcing a new prize that has generously been donated for this year. The Nina and Maria Taylor Award for Cookery is a legacy from former pupils Paul and Maria Taylor in memory of their wife and mother, Nina, who was a wonderful cook. Maria set up the first cookery school at Truro School in 2018, and this award is for commitment to cookery for a student who has shown dedication and determination in their cookery studies and has worked with resilience and resolve to achieve their very best. It is with great pleasure that I announce the inaugural winner of the award is Jude Moran in absentia, but I think we shall give him.
Thank you very much indeed, and very well done, everybody. Many of you will know that each year we award 2 prizes in honour of Lord Miners of Truro, a former pupil and a former guest speaker here. The Lord Miners Cup for True Grit and the Lord Miners True Leadership Award. Some of you will know that very sadly, Lord Miners passed away within the last year, which is a huge loss. But today we are really honoured to have his daughter Sarah here today to present the awards in his name. And I'm going to welcome Sarah onto the stage in a minute, and Sean will read out the prize winners. Thank you very much, Sarah.
The Lord Miners of Truro Cup for Grit, and also the Lower Sixth German Subject Prize, goes to Oliver Jones. The Lord Miners of Truro Leadership Award, the Boggett Charity Cup, and the Cyril Wilkes Memorial Prize for Modern Languages goes to Lara Williams. And finally, for the Clay Prize for Theology, the Jacobs Cup for Accompaniment, and the Esse Quamvideri Shield, I shouldn't get that one wrong, goes to George Stevens. And the Heads Cup, the Upper Sixth Biology, Chemistry and Geography subject prizes go to Jenna Hunter.
Thank you very much indeed. I'm now delighted to acknowledge some cup winners and read out a list of Colours Awards, and we will then announce the winner of the OP Shield. And through this section, there won't be students coming up on stage, but I will try and cue the applause. First to the cup. Back in 2020, our fifth-year football team won the Independent Schools Under-16 National Cup. But we haven't actually had a ceremony since then in which we can really celebrate that magnificent achievement on this scale. And we even have a dragonfly that's joined us to do it. This is the first fully open speech day since that success, and 6 members of that team are here. So I'd like a round of applause, please, for Cameron Hurst, Sam Williams, Charlie Bladen, Joe Moran, Jude Moran, and Ben Edwards. And now to the Colours Awards. Again, we will applaud the recipients after each category, and they will be given their colours physically at a separate time. Fourth-year rounders. The girls' first to fourth year have excelled in practices and league matches. School fixtures have been played in local partnership leagues and mostly won. Many pupils have had the opportunity to play too. Junior rounders colours are awarded to under 15 players who have given a very high level of commitment and reached high levels of performance in school rounders. And they go to Thea Bale, Eva Blackford, Olivia Boddy, Phoebe Bocock, Hebe Charles, Rose Charles, Kylin Chen, Nia Edwards, Chloe Hall, Evie Hutchin, Lulu Latham, Amelie Mecklenburg-Allen, Sophie Michel, and Elowen Paris. Well done. Outdoor education. This is a time-consuming, important, and often under-celebrated aspect of school life. Well, not today. Senior full colours are awarded for sustained commitment to outdoor education. The following pupils have been committed to all aspects of outdoor education, including the supporting of younger pupils on their expeditions. Jenna Hunter, Ben Stone, Charlie Beckley, Sophie Williams, and Sam Edwards. To athletics. Senior colours are awarded to pupils who've shown high levels of performance in their chosen events. They have also been committed to school events when called upon and continue to set a positive example to our aspiring athletes. Senior full colours are awarded to Jacob Lamble and Isaac Murray. Fencing colours are awarded to the following pupils for exceptional performance and commitment throughout the year. All of these fencers have been involved in international programmes outside of school. Senior full colours to Amy Westwell, senior half to Ethan Hilton, and junior to Amy Whiteleg. Well done. And now for the biggest prize of them all, quite literally, the OP Shield. This is the prize that goes each year to our winning house. Our house system is actually celebrating its 100th anniversary this year, which makes this year's competition all the more important and perhaps ever so slightly more competitive. All pupils in the whole school contribute in some way to gaining points for their house towards this competition. Points are awarded throughout the year for music competitions, for the maths challenge, for house quizzes, for commendations, and all sorts of other sporting and wider events. And it has been, as always, a closely contested competition. In fourth place, with 106 points, Wicket. In third place, with 115 points, School. Here's the tricky bit. Second place scored 127 points. First place scored 141.5 points. And it's clearly between Vinter and Smith. It's Smith. Well done, Smith. Please can I welcome representatives from Smith, Isaac Murray and Orla Eddy to come forward and receive this vast shield. Having navigated that successfully, thank you both very much, by the way, it is a real pleasure and privilege now to invite the head boy and head girl to deliver their speeches. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, and good afternoon, everyone. Now, I'm afraid to say that this speech is not for you, heads, nor for our dedicated teachers or all the lovely parents in attendance today. This speech is certainly not for those students who have the God-given talent of unwavering confidence and self-belief, because unfortunately, what I say will be lost on you. I am talking to those students who feel that they have more to give, but are held back by their own fear of failure, embarrassment, and self-doubt. Many seem to think that confidence is an unattainable gift or something a select few possess. However, I can say with absolute certainty that this is not the case. I used to be someone who believed that confidence was something that others were born with, but that I was not. In my first few years at Truro School, the idea of putting my hand up in a lesson would give me a stomach ache. And I still do fight the fear of embarrassment and failure whenever I step out of my comfort zone. But I made a promise to myself that I would find a way to fight those thoughts so that they didn't hold me back. I have learnt that confidence is a skill like any other. Confidence is a skill that can be taught. You can learn to be confident. I decided to use my time at Truro School to develop this skill and discovered that it's a wonderful place for this because the people here will inspire you, support you, and most of all, they will see something in you that you cannot see in yourself. It's the people of Truro School who have given me the strength and the confidence to be the person I am now. The best piece of advice I was given was in lower school from former head girl Phoebe Piercy in her end-of-year speech. She put a twist on the school motto, to be rather than to seem to be, and decided that until she felt confident, she would seem to be rather than to be. In other words, you must put yourself forward even when you do not feel confident, and you will be amazed at what will follow. Now, I understand that this seems like very abstract advice, so let me give you something more concrete. First, when trying to build your confidence, start small. For me, it was having a one-line part in the junior school play. But for you, you could simply put your hand up in class when you think you know the answer. Secondly, and I admit this is much easier said than done, but try to stop listening to that negative voice in your head. Because if you were friends with them, if they were a real person, you definitely would not be friends with them. Third, ask if you don't understand. I promise you that you are not the only one, and others in class will be glad that you had the courage to speak up and ask. And lastly, be kinder to yourself and understand that no one will be as critical of you as you are of yourself. You will make mistakes, but only you will remember them. Others will just admire the courage it takes to try something new. So, whatever your interests or your strengths, you will find people at Truro School who will support you. For me, it was in the languages department that I found my home. And there I was guided, encouraged, and supported by a wonderful group of people for whom I am incredibly grateful. So Truro School has given me so much, and if you allow it to, it can do the same for you. So if being shy, scared of judgment, full of self-doubt, or fear of embarrassment is holding you back from being the person you want to be, I beg of you to use your time here at Truro School to become the person you know you can be. Thank you.
Good afternoon. We all know that feeling of staring out of the window at the horizon, and I suspect some of you may be feeling it now. I can see a few of you. For me, that feeling was common in GCSE biology. Sorry, Miss Ellison. Because on the horizon over the Fowl River, there is a large fir tree. You can see it very clearly where it stands up on the horizon. It can be seen from the brick biology block and the SBA car park. Most days crossing the car park, or on the rare occasions in a biology lesson, I would look at this tree, and as any 14-year-old boy would think, I'm going to go and climb it. This went on for 2 years, and it turns out my friend Ollie was thinking the same thing. So, we decided to go and find it, and an expedition was arranged. We knew the rough direction, but being 14-year-old boys, we had no idea what lay in between, and I don't think we even looked on Google Maps. We set off in the right direction, but when we got to the bank of the Fowl River, we could still see the tree on the other side. So we crossed on the King Harry ferry, not realising the sign which read "Foot passengers go free" didn't include bikes. So when we got to the other side, we explained to a disgruntled man we couldn't give him the £1 that we didn't have. So this left us stranded on the Roseland. But in the true spirit of Shackleton, we pushed on with the expedition, and we found our tree in someone else's garden. So perhaps discovered, not conquered. And given that we could no longer use the King Harry ferry to cross the crevasse of the River Fowl, we headed back through the Roseland, up to Tresillian, and back down through Truro. This was probably about 3 times the distance we expected. And through this, both Ollie and I supported and sustained each other, mostly through laughing at each other. And there have been many adventures since. And so as I was thinking about what, if anything, I could say today that might be of use, my mind wandered and I got thinking to that tree from old habits. And it occurred to me that those of us who are leaving school and we are going on to do something else, we all look at our own horizons and we think about the goals that we set for ourselves. Where do we want to get to, and what do we want to do? And although we may be able to clearly see these goals and the general direction we may want to go in, we do not know what will lie ahead. Although we can be pretty sure it will be hard, it will be challenging, and we'll have to work out the route as we go. Although admittedly, a little planning can go a long way. 50p for a ferry is a good start. And when we get there, things may not turn out as we had hoped. You will need to be supported and sustained. And who are you going to take with you on your venture to the horizon? Being part of a supportive school community now enables me to be ready to head off towards my own horizon. We have staff who care for us and want the best for us, and a range of activities, sport, Duke of Edinburgh, all the awards we have just seen. And these provide us with new experiences. We have the prefects who look out for us, and perhaps most of all, a culture where we sustain and we support each other to succeed. So I need to say thank you to those of you who have enabled me to feel happy to hop on a bike and venture forth. I'd like to particularly thank my heads of year, my subject teachers, and my form tutors for being on the front line of my own support. And I'd also like to thank my mates, Charlie, Jack, and Ollie, who have been with me every step of the way. So look around you. You are in a room full of people who can support and sustain you on your journey to help you to get where you want to be. And in turn, you are in a room full of people who you can support to help them achieve their goals. And it's always worth reminding them to take 50p for the ferry home. Thank you.
There are very many truly exceptional children and young adults in this school. I'm fortunate enough every week during the year to meet with the head boy and head girl team. We have breakfast, or at least some people eat at that point, and we chat about the school. And Ben and Lara and Seb and Lulu, those conversations that we've had over the last year shape how this school evolves. What you say is insightful, and it matters, and it affects the discussions that I then go on and have with others and how this school operates. I'm going to ask Ben and Lara to come back up on stage, so I've got a little gift for them. We started this last year. I've got a little something for both of you, so come on, back up you come. There'll be a new team in September. Sorry, they haven't even sat down yet, and I'm saying that, sorry. And it is equally my pleasure and privilege to announce what is the open secret of that team's names today. I did warn you that I'd ask you to stand up. That moment is about to come. I won't ask you to come up on stage, but I do want a round of applause when all 4 of these students' names have been read out. So our head boy from September is Oliver Jones. Our head girl is Samia Sen. Our deputy head boy is Magnus Bushby, and our deputy head girl is Alicia Bray. I look forward to working with you immensely. It's now with not considerable giddy excitement that I'm going to invite James Hawes, our guest speaker, to speak to you. He is an award-winning director working internationally in television and in movies. His biog is in your program, and it's just amazing. Most importantly, of course, he's an old Truronian. James, over to you.
Headmaster, Mayor, school, good afternoon. I received an email yesterday from the school inviting me to perhaps watch online, live stream, me giving a speech. I thought about it actually, and some of you may be having second thoughts by the end of today, but for the moment I've turned up and it's a huge privilege to be here. It is 40 years to the week, it pains me to say, since I last sat roughly where you are now. And a lot of friends would be laughing themselves sick to see me here. I've told none of them because they would have turned up to heckle. My brother, who's also an old Truronian, has told me that he has sent some friends to heckle. I'm looking at you in the middle ranks here. Yeah, okay, so it could get rocky. Today is about success. We've heard it. It's about success in all its flavors. It's about your achievements as individuals, as teams, the success of your teachers and the school as a whole, and your families for supporting you through this year. And for all of you, you may not have received a prize, but for achieving another year. Now, the head has told you a little bit about what I do, but I realize that many of you will be saying, what even does a director actually do? I've been directing for 35 years, and my mum recently asked me that question. So, Mum, a director is someone who turns a script from words on the page into performances and pictures. The director is the lead creative through the whole process of filmmaking. I choose the actors, I choose the locations, I decide where the camera points, I decide if an explosion is too big or too small, I decide what the alien looks like, or whether dragons can fly. I have directed 15 assassins, several spies, 5 knights, 3 dames, 2 time lords, 1 vice president, the future king of England, and a space shuttle. And all of this is to tell stories. I had a conversation earlier with some of you in one of the classrooms there about the career, and it breaks down to telling stories. And that career began here at Truro School. But when I sat, at least in the 5th year where you sit, it was not at all the plan. All through my time at school, the expectation was that I would become an army officer. I had a family full of military, so I would follow. I would read law at university. I'd do 5 years in the Royal Artillery, then I'd come out and have a profitable, successful career as a barrister, slam dunk, sensible, grown up. And then something happened to change all that, and this school is entirely to blame. My time here had its successes and some spectacular failures. I was the boy soprano in the choir. I performed at the Albert Hall. I also managed to sing the first verse of Away in a Manger so badly that some elderly ladies in the hospital ward where I was performing begged me to stop. I was a full octave too high. I led the public speaking team to win the Southwest Regional Finals. I also lost the house competition on behalf of the best team, school. Thank you. But the house captain banned me from ever competing again. I got on okay in English and history and French, but to be clear, not maths. Maths and me had a very, very difficult relationship. In fact, the head has taken me back to the maths corridor this morning, and it was a traumatic experience. Maths hated me. It was maths' fault, to be clear. Maths made me sit my O-level, which was the pre-GCSE exam, 3 times before maths finally gave me a C. And sport, you won't be surprised to hear that I was not often picked to play at number 8. I did represent the school at hockey, but in fact I was most use in a very particular sport that the 6th form invented to pass lunch break. It all focused on the maths corridor. Maths again. It was, and maybe still is, no, it isn't quite the same, a long corridor that then had parquet flooring, and the desks that we sat on was the type that had a writing area with a lid attached to a flop-down seat on rails. This made it into some sort of toboggan. During lunchtimes, the 6th formers would make it their business to kidnap the smallest boys they could find in the school, it was just boys, and load us into the desk at one end of the corridor, put down the lid, and then hurtle us down the parquet floor. Another boy stood at the far end by door, I think it's now computer room 3, and at the right moment would open the door, so I would hurtle in, disrupting what was then the deputy head's maths class, just gathering. Apparently I was very good at this. They called me the pilot. Now, there are 3 teachers here who had a real impact on me. Some have been mentioned in the prizes today. Henry Doughty, who was choir master and introduced me to music. Nigel Taylor, who taught me history and sparked all sorts of curiosities, but also drilled me, important now, in public speaking. So if this goes wrong, he's here in the front row. You know who to talk to. And there was Watson Weeks. He was head of English and ran the Drama Society and directed school plays. We knew Mr. Weeks as God. He looked like God. He sounded like God. His wrath was godlike. He introduced me to words, to drama, and storytelling. And in the very last year here, I was in a school play. And at that moment, my world changed. I discovered a passion. The army was suddenly forgotten. Now, in my story, I'm going to cut 3 years later. I am a university student studying law, and as one of my tutors described it, doing an inexcusable amount of acting and directing. Now, there comes a point at university when you're studying law when you have to write and apply to law school for the second part of your professional qualifications, and my father was keen to know the choice. I had to pluck up courage to write and tell him that I was not going to be a lawyer or an army officer. I was going to go into film and television. Well, in that first instance, I might as well have told him I was running away to join the circus. He wrote back, and we must have known that it was significant because we both kept those letters and dug them out at a family Christmas. So, in a world first, Dear James, now to your plans for your future. I'm not at all surprised that you have found the law dull, but you write that you want to go into a career at the theatre. You do realise that your chance of making any living in that field is ridiculously small. I'd also included in my letter a request for a cheque, because my money that term seemed to have gone. His next phrase was, "You say that you do not need much money to live on. I would say the evidence to date is to the contrary." Many is the barrister who struts his stuff on the amateur stage. I advise you to sublimate your theatrical urges to a hobby, and if not law, then consider industry. Let me be clear. Should you change your mind and work for your bar exams, you will have the family support. Should you not and choose to work in the theatre or whatever else, you must support yourself. Black and white. I wrote back, "Dear sir, your letter pretty much winded me for a couple of days. I have to do this, Dad. My theatrical urges, as you call them, are too determined. It's not all about theatre. You suggest a career in industry, and that is exactly what I intend, the film and television industry. I may not be Spielberg, but I promise I won't be hopeless." So that's all quite a while ago, and Dad was right. I knew I still had a home to go to. He was firing a shot across my bows. You can't live on dreams, he was saying. We've heard dreams mentioned a couple of times, and I'm going to talk about it more specifically daydreams. How many of you have been told at some point, stop daydreaming and get on with it, whatever it is? Well, whoever told you that is wrong. In my job, I am paid to dream, to imagine a world, to see in my mind how something will become real. Motivational speakers often talk about imagining your road ahead. Make a mental map of your career path. If you dream of becoming an astronaut, you will imagine yourself undergoing the tests. You will imagine the flights, the launches. You can perhaps put yourself on the morning of a mission, sensing your pride. And if you can do that, you can begin to map your future. I daydreamed of being a movie director. Now, with my next birthday going to promise a big fat 0 on the end of it, and you can do the maths, I have just last week started production on my first big screen movie with a big star for Warner Brothers. It's taken 37 years. So does that count as a success? Or am I a failure for taking so long? Success will be different for each of you, and only you should decide what success means to you. It might be as an army officer, it might be running your own local business, as a sports person or a teacher, but you get to decide. It will take work and it will take time. Now, in the movie script of me, and just for the record, Tom Cruise is going to play me, the next bit is, it's not that funny, is montage. This is how you go from failed mathematician, army officer, lawyer to being a director. The thing about a career is you develop it all your life. I imagine some of you have an idea of exactly what you want to do, and that's great. Some of you have maybe already taken the choices at uni, which will take you on the next step. But if you don't, that's all right too. There is always room to adapt, and if it goes wrong, you won't have wasted the time learning about life and experience as you go. After uni, I landed a 2-week contract at the BBC. It was not a movie, it was on a weekly review show. The pay, dear BBC, was my tube fare and a cheese bap in the BBC canteen. I could have been insulted. I could have stormed out and told them I'd already directed plays, I had a law degree, and Tom Cruise is going to play me in the movie of my life one day in the future. But that would have been a mistake. This was an opportunity. The BBC training, open doors, surrounded by experience, and room to make mistakes. So my advice to you, leavers, is accept the cheese bap, do the crappy jobs, and make the very best tea. Cut forward my career, I'm in Montana, USA, making a drama documentary about the Battle of Little Bighorn, which is a battle, for those of you who don't know, between the Sioux tribes of the American West and General Custer's 7th Cavalry. I mean, how much fun can you have? We had a group of reenactors for the cavalry, 70 of them, in uniform, on horseback, and a local Native American had arranged 100 of his tribe to be our warriors. His name was Reelbird. It was 7 o'clock in the morning, and Reelbird suddenly announced that he would stop filming unless I agreed to pay him more money. I knew I was being held to ransom, and that if I gave in then, he would soon ask for more. I said no, and he got extremely angry. At this point, he was sat on a war pony in full war paint with a rifle loaded with black powder blanks, which he then aimed at my throat. I pushed it away, he pushed it back, we had quite a debate, and fortunately for me, he decided to call his lawyer instead of shooting me. At this point in my story, I found myself debating the nature of contract law, the stages of offer and acceptance, and what breach of contract might look like with Mr. Reelbird and his lawyer, Mr. Urban Bear Don't Walk, on the battlefield of the Little Big Horn. Mr. Reelbird's life lesson was, don't mess with a director who has a law degree. Mine were nothing is wasted. Your career path is what you make it. I also learned the importance of facing challenges head on. It's been an invaluable lesson in some areas you might not expect. Actors. Actors are like hyenas. They look for weakness. If something you say doesn't make sense, they come at you, snapping at your heels, looking for the weak wildebeest. You have to turn and look them in both eyes, and you have to have done your homework. You have to know what you're talking about. Somebody on the live stream will be taking note of that now. A few years later, I landed the job of directing the new Doctor Who, chap some of you will have heard of, called David Tennant. The first ever Christmas special. One sequence involves shooting the headquarters of UNIT, which you will all know is the government's task force for defending the world from extraterrestrial threats. I needed to decide what UNIT looked like, where it was based, and I thought it would be cool to bury it under the Tower of London. Black limousines could thunder through Traitor's Gate, alien spaceships could pass overhead the battlements. We asked Her Majesty for permission, and it turned out she's a Doctor Who fan. And she said yes. A bit of imagination, a bit of cheek, dare to think, dare to back yourself, something that the head girl was saying as well. The worst that can happen is Her Majesty says no. Sometimes you create your own opportunities. This one started in what is now room 17, was then, I think, room 10, at the top of an iron staircase, where Mr. Taylor happened to touch on the story of the Arab Revolt in 1916, and a brief mention of a man called Lawrence of Arabia. It became a passion of mine. I was fascinated by history and even more so by the man. 2 decades later, just as the US and UK were launching a war in Iraq, I spent 2 months in Syria and Jordan making a film about Lawrence and how the modern Middle East is made. We interviewed great historians, politicians, and men who had traveled with Lawrence. Then I managed to borrow 2 companies of the Jordanian Cavalry and Camel Corps and filmed them charging across the desert, blowing up steam trains on the Hejaz Railway, not too far from the army career I first thought of. There have been times when I've had to defend my choice of career, rather like former President Bush once attacked documentary maker Michael Moore by telling him to go and get a real job. People ask me if it worries me that I can spend years making something that is gone in an hour or 2. Or they ask whether perhaps I should spend all the money it takes to make a movie helping people instead. They're wrong. A historical documentary like that about Lawrence can educate and inform. A campaigning documentary can change people's lives. A good drama series entertains millions, hopefully some of you, and leaves something behind. It's the importance of story. Stories about our culture define us as people, shining a light on who we are and what your values might be. Stories bring us together as a tribe, as a society, as a school. I'm immensely proud of being an old boy of this place and of coming from Truro and being Cornish. You, especially you about to leave, will probably not have felt it yet, but having spent most of your lives here, but as you leave this school and the county, you will find that it is a great and powerful thing to come from here. It gives you somewhere to belong to. And wherever you end up, you will find you will talk about your beginnings here, about the school and about being Cornish. They are roots, and they are very, very strong. You may wonder what happened to those teachers and my parents. Well, I told you Nigel Taylor is here in the hall. Henry Doughty and Watson Weeks are now conducting and performing in another realm. But my father is sitting here and has been a lifelong friend of Watson Weeks. I'm going to leave you with a quote. This is taken from the opening of a book called The Seven Pillars, the story of the Desert Revolt as written by Lawrence of Arabia. All men dream, but not equally. Those who dream by night in the dusty recesses of their mind awake to find that it was vanity. But the dreamers of the day are dangerous. They may wake and make their dreams with open eyes and make it possible. Leavers, all of you, now is your opportunity. Dare to dream, dare to ask. And when you're given an opportunity, grab it with both hands and make it possible. It probably won't be an immediate success. It will involve hard work. But it could very well turn out to be an adventure and a big stride on the way to the sort of future you count as success. Congratulations on your brilliant year, and all of you together and as individuals. Ladies and gentlemen, Truro School.
Thank you so much, James. Dare to dream. We're going to have a musical interlude now, the Yardbird Suite. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you to the band. Thank you to Sarah. Thank you to James. Thank you to everybody. Before I invite the chaplain to the stage to give the final benediction, may I remind you that there is a voluntary collection in aid of Shelter Box as you leave the building. Albin.
Please stand for the benediction. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you his peace. Amen.